And then, of course, we have another Friday night tilt. Pac-12 action, Pac-12 after dark, or as I like to call it right now, Buffs after dark. You got Stanford coming to Boulder to play Colorado. Now, with that being said, note to the Pac-12. If Wazoo and Oregon State find a way to keep the conference alive, inviting Mountain West teams or whatever you have to do, don't put your most marketable brand on Friday night at 10 o'clock Eastern. That's fine Saturday when we're watching football all day, but some people out there have lives, they got things they want to do. If you want your marketable team like Coach Prime involved to be seen, then you got to come up with something a little bit more practical. Speaking of Coach Prime, Colorado was able to end their 2-game losing streak last week in the desert. They went out to Tempe and pulled out a nail biter, unforeseen nail biter against Arizona State 27-24. Shadur Sanders coming through in the clutch, just like he did against Colorado State. Deion Sanders wasn't happy with the win. Of course, you want to win, but he spoke out saying, yes, we won, but we can't win like that. We can't play like that and continue to win. So, Deion's mind is in the right frame, if you will. So now they got Stanford coming in. This is the key. You went out to the desert last week. You played a team that was coming into the game 1-3. I don't know if the players took them lightly or not, but Stanford's coming in 1-4. So same message. Can't take this team lightly, or any team for that matter. Stanford, on the other hand, is working through some issues. New head coach Troy Taylor coming in, from Sacramento State. He was a power option type coach at Sacramento State. They relied a lot on that in their offensive system. Right now, Stanford is playing 2 quarterbacks. And for the record, neither one has really been impressive, if you will. So, you got you got Travis Hunter potentially coming back tonight. As of yesterday, from what I heard Coach Prime say, it's more than likely that he will play. So all bets are off. The hype is back. Is everybody going to pick Colorado to win every game here on out now that Travis Hunter is back? But I don't know. We'll have to see. But back to those quarterbacks at Stanford, Ashton Daniels, Justin Lampson, combined, they have completed 55% of their passes. Now that's a little unfair because, small sample sizes and everything. But together, they've also thrown 3 touchdowns along with 3 interceptions. Neither one is really a factor in the run game. So Lampson, for example, he is averaging 2.1 a carry. Now, of course, sacks and all that is factored into that. So, could be a little bit better than that, but this is the game where Colorado's offensive line should be able to breathe a little bit because Stanford only has 8 sacks in their 5 games. These two teams have a common opponent. Who is that common opponent? Well, it's the Oregon Ducks. And what's even more common than that? They both lost to Oregon 42-6. So, I guess that doesn't mean anything either. So the one thing we do know is that Colorado can score. A second thing that we know is that Colorado will give up some points. The question that we have is, can Stanford score the points? Like Colorado is going to lose the battle in the trenches to Stanford's offensive line, but can Stanford do anything with it? They're only averaging 3.8 yards per carry on the season, so they're going to have to play above themselves to make this a game. Spread was at 11.5. I think that there's potential for a backdoor cover here. I think Colorado, they tend to start slow, so maybe they'll come out and we're looking at 10-7 going into the second quarter. Maybe at halftime, we're sitting around 20-13, 20-10. And then they break out in the second half because Shador has been a second half and more or less a fourth quarter player. So maybe they get some scores late to put it away. But, I think Stanford is going to keep it a little bit closer. not necessarily cover, but they'll keep it a little bit closer than most people think. Because I think a lot of people are looking at this game and they're thinking Colorado by 3 touchdowns or more. I don't know if I see that just because I can't trust Colorado's defense to hold people down. I mean, look at Colorado State, for example. They took Colorado to overtime, scored 35 points, and they scored 24 against Utah State last week. So can I trust Colorado to stop a team, even one that isn't that great at scoring? I mean, Arizona State's still playing with backup linemen and all that kind of stuff, and they were able to keep it a 3-point game. So, Colorado's going to have to avoid the letdown and not play down to their competition in this. I like them to win. I like them to cover. Like I said, 11.5 was the last I saw the spread. So I'm going to call this game something along the lines of 35-17.